Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Church of Calisthenics podcast. This is day 35 of the Anger Challenge. So, this is the most recent podcast we have available. There's no sponsors. You probably could have guessed that. Not yet, but maybe one day we'll get a sponsor. Just wanted to check in with everybody, see how you're doing at the end of this 35-day challenge. This is the end of the Anger Challenge. So, this podcast is going to be talking a lot about why we did an Anger Challenge, how we did. How the 35 days went, how it personally went for me, why I even chose the Anger Challenge, and also just a little summary, quick catch up on where we're going to go from here. So it is day 35. We're at the end of the Anger Challenge, and I chose the Anger Challenge because my first challenge, the first 35 days, I did moderation. For me, it was moderation of my weed intake. Smoking weed is my preference. So the first 35 days was about seeing if I can detach myself from my addiction, and I think I did it pretty successfully. I did 4 weeks of taking 5 days off and then allowing myself to smoke 2 days. Huge success. At the end of that moderation challenge, or vice moderation challenge, the big thing that I found out about myself is that I definitely have an anger problem. And not to say that it's the end of the world or ruins my life, but being sober does allow me to tap into my anger very quickly. And being sober also, I don't have a lot of defense mechanisms to help me deal with my anger, or just in general how to live with it. So this past 35 days has been about experimenting with that, looking into philosophy or just self-talk that is helpful with dealing with anger. So I'm going to go into them in detail. I didn't necessarily do a great job at really attacking my anger day after day. It was more of a challenge about being conscious of it and living with it, and making sure that when I do have these moments where anger creeps in, to be able to change my mindset, to change my frame of mind. And I'll give you some easy references. A great one is one of the most famous public speakers, motivational speakers, Tony Robbins. Highly recommend going to watch any of his videos about anger. Obviously, his quick tip is going to be about gratitude. And that's something I have taken from him. I plan on keeping with me for the rest of my life, is focusing on gratitude in times of struggle, times of discomfort. Anger and rage in general are two emotions that are very much human and a part of who we are. And what you end up learning about them is that if you aren't able to change your state of mind, those emotions will thrive and just kind of continue through you. And that's something I've had an issue with, especially being sober. Just for a few days at a time, I tend to fixate on certain thoughts, certain feelings, certain emotions. And it's something I love about weed. Weed makes you super passive and makes me kind of indifferent to my problems. It makes me just kind of accept them and do whatever it takes to get over them or get through them. And without weed, I become very, very upset at the fact that life is challenging me, or the world is challenging me, or just anything. I mean, a good example is we moved into a new place recently, and we are expected to get parking passes. So, of course, I reach out to our HOA for the parking passes to send them over to us. And, of course, our HOA lets us know that we have to come into an office 45 minutes away from our house to go pick up our parking passes. Now, the high version of me is going to just accept that and say, well, that's just the rules. I have to drive 45 minutes and go get my parking pass. The sober version of me did not handle it well and immediately took it as a spite against my honor and my family. And I had about 20 minutes where I was enraged, just could not fathom why an HOA that I pay a monthly fee to is going to make me drive 45 minutes to go pick up my parking passes so I can park in my parking spots at my house. Infuriating, just the entire moment of it. I even brought it up to my girlfriend Lily in the moment, being like, hey, I'm having this feeling and emotion, and I know it's irrational, but I feel like it's 100% rational. Luckily, I have a very loving and gracious girlfriend, which she's been in the videos with me, Lily, and she was super kind enough to just be patient with me, let me know that my feelings are rational and that the HOA are a bunch of dumbass. I'm joking. It wasn't about the HOA. At the end of the day, I do have an opinion about the HOA. I'm sure we all do. HOAs are infamously funny. That's all I'll say about that. But end of the day, I just had to accept what happened, accept my emotions, and realize that even if this is an injustice, even if this is a slight against my honor, whatever it may be, I couldn't think of like a better way to put it. But even if it are those things, even if I am justified in these feelings, I had to accept that this is the world I live in. This is the agreement I accepted. No matter how much I think I am correct, HOA is always right. Unfortunately, they're kind of like the principal at your school. It's what we sign up for, and it's kind of how you have to just accept these things in life. I get it when there are certain things in life that maybe you should have more opinion, or maybe you should have a justified opinion about. Fight for yourself. But this is one of those times I have to learn personally that this is not something worth fighting for. In a sense that A, I'm not going to get what I want by fighting, and B, I'm not going to help anybody by fighting. And I think that's an important lesson I learned through these past 35 days, is just understanding that my anger is justified. It's a true, genuine emotion I have. But when I put it in perspective, a lot of times you can kind of deduct yourself into rationality. You know, hey, this feeling is real, but is this feeling going to carry me any closer to the goal? You know, whatever the goal may be. For this scenario, I'm telling you, I just want to get parking passes for our cars so our cars don't get towed out of the house that we just bought. Which is ridiculous that even saying it to you doesn't make me feel better. But I have to understand that I'm accepting something I'm participating in, and that I have to live with all the consequences of accepting it. Same thing with just buying a new piece of property. Obviously, you don't know everything that's wrong with it. You're going to find out what's wrong with it. And at the end of the day, no matter how upset you get about what's wrong with it, you accepted all those problems. So it is your problem. I think that's just a really important lesson on life. You know, I think a lot of my aggression comes from not wanting to accept my problems or issues, whether it be work, outside of life, HOA stuff, family stuff. There's a really big collective issue of, I think a lot of us don't want to be active participants in our lives. And I mean that in a sense of, not that we aren't participating, not that we aren't trying, but we aren't really engaging with the problems. You know, we kind of just live with them, accept them, and then they kind of just carry with us. Me and one of my good friends right now are reading a book about, it's a very popular old book, Zen, and stay right here, I'm coming right back. Sorry, I didn't want to get this book wrong. So right now I'm reading Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and it's just a book about a father and son traveling the country on the motorcycle. Very brief description, but the book itself is just really trying to focus on harmony. And for me, that's what I'm getting out of the book, is harmony. What is your experience? Why are you experiencing it? And are you accepting of your experience? And the book is such a good introspection into humans' inability to accept what we do and what we are participating in, and that disharmony that comes from not really accepting the reality of our world. In this scenario, it's about obviously the reality of technology and not really wanting to engage or accept technology. But I think this is a testament to, I think, a lot of our problems. For me specifically, my problems with work, accepting problems that I feel like aren't necessarily, I'm getting consequences of other people's decisions. And it's a big problem that I have with my work life, where I get super angry at the fact that I don't necessarily have direct control over my day-to-day or the consequences of my day-to-day. And that's just part of being an accountant, I'm sure. I'm an accountant by trade. And so that's something I have to accept in my day-to-day life so I can carry on and get better. And just really, that's the only way to really grow and not to keep building resentment. Because the problem I have, especially with all my jobs, is at any point I feel like people are unnecessarily giving me work for the sake of their inability to catch their own errors. I'm only going to build resentment in the fact that my time is being taken by someone else who doesn't want to spend the time and the due diligence to do it right the first time. Not going to go into detail there, just more giving you an example of where you might build some anger or resentment in your personal life. For me, that's how I built it in my work life. And that's the thing too. A lot of times I haven't necessarily been the justified in saying that or justified in feeling that. I just have to know that No matter what happens, this is my job. This is what I get paid to do. Whatever it is, I just have to do that stuff for the 8 hours a day that they need me. And then outside of that, I got to get on with my life. I got to create real problems, real challenges in my life to have a purpose and find meaning. And I think that's what's so important about this anger challenge, is creating a bigger problem within yourself. And maybe not an actual problem, but maybe just wanting to grow, grow intellectually, grow physically, grow, I forgot how you would describe it in like a dietary purpose, but same thing physically. Creating challenges in your life that are meaningful and rewarding to you, so that challenges pushed onto you, forced onto you, are not as heavy. And I think that's an important thing that I just learned from my entire experience is you have to create a tolerance to challenges. And it's challenges, mental challenges, physical, all across the board. You have to create tolerance everywhere. Obviously, we do it physically with the daily calisthenics, building our body up so that we can continue to do bigger and better physical things outside of calisthenics, hiking, going to see our families, biking, whatever it may be, sports, playing basketball, soccer, keeping your body healthy and vibrant. Same thing with your mind. I think calisthenics and just any type of physical exercise, especially the sauna or steam room, really challenging that mental capability, has been a huge part in building that mental discipline. And not just the mental discipline of exercising, but the mental discipline of like your work, your day-to-day life, your task. It creates this build. It creates this all-encompassing feeling of wanting to be more. And it's something I personally have been very poor at most of my life, is wanting more, wanting to challenge myself, wanting to grow mentally and physically. And I think they're mutually combined and mutually exclusive. Tying that all back to anger, because ultimately this is an anger challenge for me, because I have to accept that anger is going to be in my life forever, and that I'm going to have to build a tolerance to my anger. I'm going to have to build a discipline to recognizing my anger and figuring out how to change my mind, change my mindset to get out of that anger. Going back to what I was talking about earlier in the video with Tony Robbins, famous motivational speaker, one of his videos I saw about 3 weeks ago, it was a perfect time in my challenge. I was not dealing with my anger well, not really finding ways to cope with that anger, and saw a really awesome video of his on LinkedIn just talking about gratitude being the easiest way to combat anger. Because when you're grateful, it's very hard to come from a place of resentment and a place of less. When you find things in life that give you meaning, give you purpose, make you feel attached to the world, that's something I like to use a lot of reference to. Changing your life will make you really feel like you're attached to yourself as a person, you're attached to your purpose, and that you are an active participant in your world. And I think it's something I've been a culprit to. I've been, I'm trying to think of the word. I have spent many a years not wanting to be an active participant in my own life, and I've faced the consequences of that by feeling detached from myself, not feeling like I have a true purpose on this earth, and just not feeling like I was meant to be here. And I say all this because this is just a PSA, perfect timing, June, Men's Mental Health Month. You were meant to be on this earth. You, by the grace of the universe, you were born. We decided that the world decided as a collective that you were supposed to be on this earth. You were supposed to be here. And I say that because I tell myself that every day, and it fills me with so much joy and purpose to know, even if I don't get the most out of my day, even if I don't complete all my goals or create something that I'm happy about, I know that I'm supposed to be here and that I'm supposed to coexist. And I just say that because I think it needs to be said and explicitly said, just to remind people that you are meant to be here. You have a place on this earth. It is on you to find your place here and to find your purpose, but you are meant to be here. And that's why I'd like to really say those opening and closings about it's a privilege to be here with you. It's an honor to do these workouts with you, because it is. I mean, it's truly just to share a random connection with strangers across the internet is such a privilege. Being able to give these exercises, being able to give my energy, being able to share these moments with you, it's priceless, It's why we do this. It's why we keep coming back to YouTube to find our different hobbies, our different interests. Maybe it's something we're obsessed with already that we know we want Maybe it's something that we hate, like my calisthenics videos. Maybe it's something that's hard, that's difficult. But ultimately, if you're searching, that's where you'll find your purpose in life. As long as you keep trying to figure out who you are, keep trying to understand why you are the way you are. For me, that's understanding my anger, understanding my addiction, understanding what I truly want from life. And at the end of all this, or really at the beginning of all this, I just went into this kind of trying to figure out who I am. Am I a good trainer? Can I make workouts? And that was really the whole essence of this anger challenge. It was obviously the subsequent challenge of the moderation challenge. But that's really all these challenges have been about, is challenging myself as a trainer, challenging myself as a athlete. So I did those mutually exclusively, doing the exercises with you, but also creating exercises that are pretty challenging for me. And then also just trying to be aware of the emotions that make me who I am, and really trying to that self-discovery. So all that to say, these challenges were selfishly meant for Paul, the trainer Paul, to offer to people who want to join the Church of Calisthenics. But ultimately, they were meant for me. So you needed to take what you wanted out of this challenge. Maybe it's not anger that's really bothering you. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe you need to focus on what steps you need to take to limit your loneliness so you can have a more fulfilling life. We all have different challenges. We all have different problems. I didn't create this anger challenge because I'm looking for angry people. I know that's the feeling I'm probably giving off, but I'm looking for anybody who has a problem and who's anybody that's trying to grow. That's really what the Church of Calisthenics is about. I guess I should go a little bit into why I chose the Church of Calisthenics. Something I've been talking with my business coach a lot about, just because I don't really know why I chose it. I just like the name. But for me, I used to be a deeply religious Catholic. I am no longer a deeply religious person. I would say I'm a very spiritual person. I don't do any type of weekly religious practice or collective. This is the closest I get to church, is the Church of Calisthenics. And ultimately, I chose the Church of Calisthenics because even though I'm not actively religious, my health, my physical health, my mental health, and my diet have become my three biggest parts of my purpose, my being, and who I am. And they are within themselves my religion, which obviously a lot of religions focus on those three things. But I quite literally created the Church of Calisthenics in the vein of creating a spiritual, a intimate, a holy place. Obviously, it's virtually through YouTube, but I wanted to emphasize the importance of self. And that's ultimately the essence of Church of Calisthenics, the importance of self. The way we emphasize those importance of self are obviously through our calisthenic workouts, focus on the body. Focus on the body, we mutually focus on the mind. And then once you allow yourself to focus on your body and your mind, should see a surprising change in your mental health and your just overall complexion on life. And that's really the essence of what I'm trying to offer with the Church of Calisthenics, is a safe place to come every day to get your mind right. Because ultimately, I'm addicted to all these workouts. I'm addicted to showing up and doing these workouts with you. I'm addicted to the repetition because of the mental benefits it gives me. I used to be a highly, highly depressed person. I still, by all means, have sad days and ups and downs. But I would say my day-to-day life was very, very depressing and very limiting because of my inability to find mental relief within myself. And I was just like everybody else. I was addicted to just sitting around all day, playing my game, stuck on my phone 24/7. I was a sedentary person, didn't leave the house a lot. And it added up. That created a lot of mental issues for myself, as far as physical issues too: back pain, foot pain, ankle, anything on my body, I could make it hurt if I just tried, if I focused on it enough. It adds up. And so the whole point of this Church of Calisthenics is just the importance of self and giving yourself a chance. And that's really all I'm really offering, is just the opportunity to show up every day, just 30 minutes a day, and give me a little bit of something, Everybody's gonna be different. Everybody's tolerance is gonna be different. And I just want to offer you a chance. I want to offer you a safe place to come and just put yourself out there, get a little sweaty, make yourself a little sore, and just do what you can. Okay, I wrote down some questions for myself just because I want to finish up this video in sequence. We basically just went through the first 20 minutes, I would say, is why the anger challenge. I just went into a lot of detail about why I chose the anger challenge, how we got here, all that good stuff. I guess I'll go into how we did. I would say at the end of it, I was a little disappointed in myself in that I didn't make weekly goals to combat my anger. It was more of just like do the exercises and then be aware of the anger whenever it showed up. Luckily, like I was saying earlier, I have a wonderful girlfriend who was able to help me talk through things and really think about them in more detail without letting it overwhelm me. And then just having the added benefit of the exercises, going to the steam room / sauna every day, walking. I walk about 1.5 to 2 hours a day. Those are all huge parts of my mental health and dealing with my emotions, dealing with my feelings, processing those emotions and feeling too. Because I think that's the biggest thing, is not just living with them, but being able to think about them and let them kind of sit into you and live with you, instead of it being at the front of your brain, always kind of coming into the next thought. Being able to really sit there and have a personal therapy to talk to yourself and be able to talk through things successfully. All of that to say, this is a PSA. If you need to have professional help talking successfully with people or just talking about your life, please seek therapy. Always recommend it. I'm not going to advertise anything here. Talk to your family and friends. Ask who they use potentially. Therapy is incredible because we do not have the ability to communicate everything that we need to just to ourselves or to our loved ones. Sometimes we need professional help to really be able to communicate our problems and our desires effectively. This is coming from someone who absolutely used to talk so much crap about therapy most of my life. I was very avoidant of it, 100% avoidant of it. Gave it a chance about 2 years ago, loved it. I've transitioned my therapy into life coaching. Still kind of feels like therapy, but it just gives me an option to really seek my goals in my life a little bit more, because I feel like I just don't need as much therapy as I used to. But luckily, I do have that option to treat it like therapy, because my life coach is my certified therapist as well. But that's what I used to do. Now I've transitioned it into just trying to have a better life, seeing what I like, seeing what I want to do, and challenging myself. So all that to say, I would say my 35-day anger challenge, I did fail as far as really looking into my anger. I came out with a lot of good revelations. I came out with a good awareness. I came out with some positives, but overall, I would say I was not really looking into it as much as I should have. Whereas in the moderation challenge, there was a clear goal of how I can succeed and how I could fail. So that's where the moderation challenge was a little bit more easier to see success. During this anger challenge, I had on and off moderation. I had probably 2 weeks of the challenge I did well, where I took my 4 days off completely. The rest of the challenge, I was kind of on and off. I was much more disciplined than I had been in the past, making sure I wasn't participating in smoking or anything outside of, or like past 5 or 6 o'clock at night. But even then, it was still just a lapse in success for me, because ultimately part of the anger challenge was also keeping the moderation going, and I did feel like I slipped a little bit on the moderation. But at the end of it, I was still very happy with the training. I was still very happy with the videos I offered. The videos got a little bit more intense. I was changing up the workouts every couple weeks just to kind of add on to them, changing up some of the exercises. My workouts are a work in progress within themselves, so I really just wanted to focus on different styles, different forms of the workout, making sure I'm not working too many muscles too much. But they're meant to be high intense workouts, and that was my goal, was to keep that going. And at the end of it, I felt really great. I feel like my workouts give incredible muscle composition, especially upper body and core. I was very proud of them, very proud of what we created, or what I created, and what I got to participate with you in. And yeah, I guess leading to the next question, what could we have done better? I think creating weekly anger goals would have been really good. Having 2 days a week to write out anger specific challenges. It's something I ended up doing, I guess, on accident this past week. whenever something kind of just got under my skin or I didn't handle it well, I would just take time to write about it and kind of express why I got under my skin or why I didn't like it. And a lot of times that was just really simple self-talk, self-therapy, just to talk through things and realize that, yeah, maybe it's not pleasing to witness, maybe it's not easy to accept, but I think when you really just give yourself some time to reflect, you end up just realizing that a lot of things in life just need to be accepted. And I think it's just human to want to reject, say things are wrong. It's easy to say things are wrong. It's never easy to just accept things as they are. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson I learned through this challenge was just accepting things for how they are. Once they are affecting you negatively, obviously you do need to take action. But for me, I had to accept that a lot of times my actions are not going to change a lot of things. My acceptance will change a lot. It'll change a lot within me, and it'll allow me to accept the world I live in. But not to say whenever you have to take action, take action. You know, don't ever feel like the world is, you need to bend to the world, because ultimately you're an active participant in it. The world needs you. The world accepts you. It's also your job to let the world know what you need from it. And that's something I realized too through a lot of my anger challenge too, was a lot of my anger in specific moments. I just needed to communicate my feelings and needs. And a lot of times my anger is built into the fact that I refuse to express myself, so that I'm justified to have anger. Something I talked to my life coach about, anger's taught. As much as we like to think it's not, anger is taught. And I've had a lot of years of my childhood and adulthood training to be angry. And so a big part of this challenge and a big part of what life is about is training yourself for the person you want to be. So something I have to accept too as a person is that I've trained to be this angry, and that I'm really good at being angry. I know it doesn't show in these videos because I'm giving you guys this, you know, Church of Calisthenics trainer vibe, but obviously you just have to trust me in that I do have a lot of anger and that it's boiling through me all day. But that's the big part of all of this, is just knowing that it's a part of you. It was trained, and that you can train to find happiness too. You can train to induce gratitude, you know, and that's probably the biggest thing I learned through all this, is that I've spent a lot of years training to induce anger, and now I have to train the opposite way of inducing gratitude and finding out why I want to be on this earth, why I participate in this earth, and what makes me happy. Because when you really figure out what makes you happy, what you love, that makes everything else so minuscule, so livable. You know, everything after that is just life. But yeah, I would say on the side of what I could have done better, just making attainable goals to what I'm trying to challenge. And this is all just kind of a walkthrough of your personal challenges and how to get through them. Obviously, I'm going into anger into detail because that's my big one for these past 35 days. And it's going to be a big one for the rest of my life. The anger challenge never ends. That's the joke. I'm kidding. But yeah, I want to finish up this last bit of the video just talking about where we're going from here. So these first two challenges were about challenging myself as a trainer, trying to prove that I can make good workout videos that people can take on and work with. What I learned through these videos is that I'm at a pretty decent high level of calisthenics, or HIIT workouts, high intensity workouts, and that a lot of the people that I'm reaching out to and trying to welcome into the Church of Calisthenics aren't necessarily at that level yet. And right now I'm writing exercises for the older version of me. About 5 years ago, I'd never really started calisthenics. I was an active participant. I was probably I was at 300 pounds roughly. The biggest I've ever been was 308 pounds. And I started doing 30-minute calisthenics videos 5 years ago. But the reality for me is that those 30-minute videos took me about 2 hours, because I would just pause them all through the videos. They were super high intense exercises, and I would just pause every like 2 to 3 minutes, take a really long break, like 5-10 minutes, walk around the apartment, whatever it may be. And it was super tough, but after 3 months of putting myself through that, I lost 40 pounds and was able to do the videos a lot better. I was still pausing the videos a lot through the first 2 years of my experience. So right now what I'm developing is trying to figure out an in-between of creating some high intensity exercises that are more introduction level and just allowing people to get a taste of calisthenics first before really getting into these deeper, bigger videos like I did on the first 2 challenges. So what I'm really looking forward to in the future is trying to create more entry-level calisthenics and trying to do like a 12-week program that is kind of a build-up progression of, about, I would say it's like 3 weeks at a time, and it's 3-4 week segments that are a slow build-up progression where you will clearly see the exercises compound as we go. So that's my goal for the future. As always, guys, it's an absolute privilege to share these videos with you. The Church of Calisthenics was created for the people itself. Right now we're at 47 subscribers. I've never been so proud and so happy. Hope you're enjoying the videos. Please leave comments about what you're not liking. Maybe something's too hard. Tell me what you don't like about anything. Tell me what you do like. Whatever it may be, it's always a privilege. And I hope you feel that way too. Just wanting to show up every day, prove yourself. We got 70, I say we got 70 days worth of videos. We have 70 days of challenge. Obviously, I have only, out of those 35 days each, 25 days worth of exercises. So I got 50 exercises online for you. They're all very similar, but they all have differentiating levels of difficulty. And they're a great build-up. Start from day one and just keep going up. But all that to say, I'm going to get back to life, go get some lunch, get to writing these exercises. Please leave some comments. Tell me what you love about the old exercises. Tell me what you might want in the future. Give me your honest stories. I'm trying to, just keep painting a picture of what the Church of Calisthenics is here for, and I'm trying to allow that picture to come to life for its participants. But yeah, it's a privilege, guys. I will be posting hopefully another podcast in a week or two, just wanting to talk about my story in more detail, really going into detail about my issues, or not even issues, but how long it took me to get used to calisthenics and how intense it is. But yeah, that'll all be in the future. Hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. It's day 35. We'll do it all again soon. Talk to you soon, guys.